Let's talk about divorce. It's obviously a deeply personal thing, but what a lot of people don't realize is that it's also one of the biggest, most complicated financial deals you'll ever make. Seriously, the choices you're about to make, they're going to shape your life for decades to come. So, let's get right into how to navigate this maze and protect your future. And I'm going to be blunt here. For a lot of folks, the answer to this question is a scary yes. It's so easy to make mistakes that can, completely derail your financial security, maybe forever. The stakes are just massive. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. All of these common traps, they are 100% avoidable. Okay, so let's start with the first big decision. Because how you decide to do the divorce itself, that's not just a legal choice, it's a huge financial one. It really sets the stage for everything, and I mean everything, that comes next. So you've got two basic routes here. On one side, you have the traditional court battle. And let's be honest, that can turn into a long, expensive fight where the lawyer's fees just start eating away at your money. And in the end, a judge who doesn't know you from Adam makes the final call. But then you've got things like mediation or collaborative divorce. This is totally different. You're in control. It's all about working together to find smart, financial solutions that actually preserve your assets instead of burning through them. It puts you in the driver's seat, which is exactly where you need to be.
All right, next up, the hidden traps. Think of it like a financial iceberg. You see the legal fees on top, but the real danger is all the stuff lurking underneath. Taxes, housing costs, new rules, these are the things that can sink what looks like a perfectly fair deal.
So let's look at some of these hurdles. Just the simple fact of going from one household to two is a huge financial hit, right? Then you've got new IRS rules for things like alimony, your tax filing status completely changes, but the big one, the one that's a real landmine for so many people, is the tax on selling your house. We're talking about capital gains tax, and if you get this wrong, you could lose a ton of money.
Okay, so here's how it normally works. If you're single and you sell your main home, the IRS gives you a break. You can make up to $250,000 in profit tax-free. That's the standard rule, as long as you've lived in the house for at least 2 of the last 5 years.
Now, when you're married, that tax-free profit doubles to $500,000. That's a huge chunk of change. And this is where people make a big mistake. They assume that as soon as the divorce is final, poof, that extra benefit is gone. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be?
And this is where things get really interesting. This is a powerful strategy that almost nobody knows about. If your divorce agreement is written in a very specific way, you can actually preserve both of your individual tax breaks. But it gets even better. It's actually possible for one spouse to get remarried, use their new $500,000 married exclusion, while the other ex-spouse still gets to use their $250,000 exclusion. On the same house, you're talking about a combined $750,000 tax-free. But, and this is the critical part, it only works if your legal team knows how to structure the deal this way from the start. This whole tax thing leads us right into the next major pitfall, how you split up your biggest assets. Because let me tell you, thinking you can just slice everything 50-50 and call it a day, that can be a massive mistake. The number you see on paper is rarely the whole story.
A lot of this comes down to where you live. Some states, like California, are community property states, where they start with a 50-50 split. But most places follow equitable distribution. And the key word there is equitable, which means fair, not necessarily equal. Think about it. Is a retirement account with $100,000 in it the same as a house with $100,000 of equity? No way. You got taxes, you can't access the retirement money easily. A truly fair split looks at what each asset is actually worth to you in your pocket after everything is said and done.
Okay, and speaking of retirement accounts, we have to talk about something called a QDRO. I know, it's a weird acronym, but this is so important. It stands for Qualified Domestic Relations Order, and it's a special court order. It is the only legal way to split a 401k or a pension in a divorce. If you try to do it any other way, you'll get slammed with income taxes and a 10% penalty for early withdrawal. Bam! A huge chunk of your retirement savings gone, just like that. Honestly, not using a QDRO it's a disaster.
And I love this quote because it's just perfect. Trying to split a 401k without the right legal tools is it's like taking a sword to a wedding cake. You're just going to make a mess. A QDRO, on the other hand, that's like a surgeon's scalpel. It's precise. It lets you divide the asset cleanly without destroying its value. You absolutely have to use the right tool for the job.
Here's another one of those little details that can have a huge impact. It's called the 636 rule. and it matters if you're trying to get a mortgage after the divorce. Basically, if you want to use alimony or child support to qualify for the loan, you have to prove you've been getting it for 6 months and that it's going to continue for at least 3 more years. That's 36 months. If your divorce papers don't spell that out exactly, a mortgage lender will say that income doesn't count. And just like that, you might not be able to buy a new home.
So we've talked about the process, the hidden costs, the asset traps. But honestly, all of that pales in comparison to this. This is the big one, the advice you get. Getting this right can save your financial future. Getting it wrong, well, it can destroy it. So I want you to stop and really think about this question. The person giving you financial advice, are they legally required to put your best interests first? Because the answer might shock you. For a lot of so-called advisors, the answer is no. And that legal standard, it changes everything.
And here's the difference, plain and simple. You've got the fiduciary standard. A fiduciary is legally bound to act in your best interest. That's it, end of story. Their advice has to be what's best for you. Then you have the suitability standard. This is a lower bar. It means someone, often an insurance agent, can sell you a product that's just suitable. It might not be the best one, it might be more expensive, but if it pays them a higher commission, it's allowed. During a divorce, that conflict of interest is a ticking time bomb.
And that's why this matters so much. The financial choices you're making right now, they're permanent. You can't go back and fix them later. There are no do-overs. You absolutely need someone in your corner who has a legal duty to be on your side to make sure every single decision is for your benefit, not for theirs.
Okay, I know. We've talked about a lot of scary stuff, a lot of pitfalls. It's easy to feel a little overwhelmed. But now I want to pivot. Because when you have the right person guiding you, all of this complex stuff, it actually becomes an opportunity. It's your chance to build a really solid foundation for a new, fresh start.
So if you take away just 3 things from our conversation today, make it these. Number 1, how you divorce is a financial choice. Choose a path that preserves your money. Number 2, a 50-50 split isn't always fair. You've got to look deeper at taxes and the real value of things. And number 3, probably the most important one, make sure your financial advisor is a fiduciary. It's your ultimate protection.
At the end of the day, smart financial planning in a divorce isn't really about splitting up the past. It's about designing the future. It's about building a solid launch pad for the amazing life you're going to live next.
And this is exactly what an expert like Avi Crane does. He's a financial fiduciary who specializes in this very specific, very complex world of divorce finance. He helps people navigate all these traps we've talked about to make sure they're not just protected, but set up for a great future. If this is the journey you're on, that fiduciary standard of care isn't just a nice-to-have, it's what you deserve.
So your next chapter is right there waiting for you. It's a blank page. The question is, have you done what it takes to protect it? Are you ready to make sure it's a secure one?